People move for many different reasons: to go to college, because of a new job, buying a new home, etc. But people don't always move because they want to. Oftentimes, people are forced to move because they have been driven out of their current home or area. The issue of displacement can affect anyone, but it has disproportionately affected minorities throughout history. Hi, my name is Jaimee Elliott, and this is a video about overcoming displacement by staking title to equitable property. About 90% of the Black American population lived in the South at the beginning of the 20th century. As part of the Great Migration, starting in 1910, half of this population fled the South to escape the Jim Crow caste system, KKK violence, and in search for better job opportunities. Not only did they flee to the northern states, but they also landed in California, more specifically Los Angeles and Oakland. Hospitality jobs brought many Black Americans to Oakland to work as porters, maids, cooks, and waiters. Oakland offered many economic opportunities for the Black community that led to ownership of restaurants, grocery stores, real estate firms, furniture stores, and more. 7th Street in particular was an economic hub for the Black community, full of business, culture, and entertainment. Slim Jenkins, Esther's Orbit Room, and the Lincoln Theater were all well-known Black-owned businesses along 7th Street that provided entertainment. 7th Street was known as the Harlem of the West. Unfortunately, the richness of this community was negatively impacted over time. The Lincoln Theater was in operation from 1919 until 1955, after which it was used for church services until it was demolished in 2003. The lot where the theater used to sit remains vacant today, with graffiti murals and sculptural art in its place. Beginning in 1936, redlining kept families in West Oakland from building generational wealth, since they would not be qualified to get home loans in their neighborhood. Many families in West Oakland were displaced in 1959 when the city decided to demolish 12 blocks of housing that they considered substandard in order to build a United States Postal Service distribution center. Even more homes were demolished for the construction of the Interstate 980 that started construction in 1968 and was completed in 1985. This freeway created a rift between the predominantly Black community of West Oakland and the growing economy of downtown Oakland. The economic hub of 7th Street that was once lined with Black-owned businesses and rich culture in 1912 dwindled over the years due to these factors that forced displacement of many families. By 2003, 7th Street had become a desolate street with many vacant lots and few businesses. The culture and community of 7th Street has slowly eroded over time due to capitalism and policy. Displacement of the Black community in West Oakland continues to be relevant today, with gentrification, rising rents, and evictions. Many people are moving from the pricey and condensed San Francisco to just over the bridge in Oakland, where housing is slightly more affordable and less cramped. As the demand for housing goes up, so does the price. And property values are rising at a faster rate than the allowable rent increases, which means that existing tenants are not as profitable for landlords as new tenants. Additionally, investors can make higher profits on renovated properties. So, from the developer's standpoint, gentrification equals more profit. These rent hikes have placed a severe cost burden on many renters in Oakland. The assumed rent burden should be a maximum of 30% of household income, but many Oakland households are spending more than 50% of household income on rent. This creates an affordability crisis that results in higher risk for eviction when the tenants cannot afford the rent hikes. Most of these high-risk eviction areas are located in areas that were once red line districts, which continues to plague our minority communities. As developers and property investors continue to buy up Oakland properties and increase rents, many residents cannot keep up with the financial demands. This leads to evictions, displacement, and homelessness. Additionally, corporate landlords are more likely to evict than any other type of owners. One example is William Rossetti, who evicted 4,069 tenants from 2011 to 2016. These landlords are making a business model off of evictions, while people who have been in Oakland for generations are being displaced. So how can we solve this wealth gap and housing problem? It is important to not only provide affordable housing solutions, but also encourage individual home ownership so that families can start to build generational wealth and have financial stability. So, how can we create affordable home ownership? The solution is to provide pre-manufactured modular units for sale and an overall building structure for the units to be placed on that would be a shared or cooperative ownership. This is also known as ROC or resident-owned community. This would give the people in the West Oakland community the opportunity to own their own home and a portion of the property in an affordable way while building financial equity. If they decide they want to move in the future, they could sell their share of the property and move their home to a new property, or if they wish, they could sell their home too. No longer would they be at the whim of the landlord, and they could now have control of their own financial future. The pre-manufactured modular units have 6 different layouts with varying sizes and configurations. The 1-bedroom units offer 600 square feet of living space at the base price of $100,000. The 2-bedroom units offer 800 square feet of living space at the base price of $130,000. And the 3-bedroom units offer 1,000 square feet of living space at the base price of $160,000. The installation cost ranges from $10,000 to $14,000, which includes the delivery, crane rental, permits, assembly in place, and connection to utilities. The plot of building space for each modular unit is $20 per square foot. This cost also includes the cooperative ownership of the land and the shared community spaces. Here's an example for the cost of a 2-bedroom unit. The modular 2-bedroom unit price is $130,000. The installation cost is $12,000, and the property value plot cost is $24,000. That makes the total for a 2-bedroom unit only $166,000. This is far more affordable than the traditional Oakland home, with a median price of $900,000. So what can the residents of West Oakland afford? The median household income is $55,000 per year, and the average household income is $87,000 per year. So how much mortgage can a person afford with that income? Well, based on this mortgage calculator, with an income of $57,000 per year and $0 down payment, with a 4% interest rate, a person could afford a mortgage of approximately $200,000. This means that these homes could be available to over half of the West Oakland population to buy and build equity, rather than to struggle to pay rent to a landlord. What location could be better for this project, other than 7th Street, where the Lincoln Theater used to sit? This triangular-shaped property is maximized to the lot line, with a structural grid overlaid to face the property lines. From this, an extruded building form emerges. However, this must be adjusted not to disturb or displace the existing buildings on the corners below. To achieve this, the front corners of the new building form are carved away. Then, a terraced courtyard is created for the new community to allow access to light and air. Lastly, the facade of the building is extracted to create a grand and welcoming entrance into the central community space of the building. Within this overall building form, the structural grid is placed with terraced floor plates. Each floor has a floor space that is individually owned, and the community space that is cooperatively owned. It is within the space of the individual ownership where the modular units sit. This layout continues on all floors of the building. The modular units are loaded in from the exterior side of the building. The curved faces and setback wall sections of the modular units create intimate spaces for the neighbors to gather. The people who might live here could have been facing displacement or eviction at their previous home. Creating spaces where community can connect is important to reestablish the sense of stability and belonging. There are also larger community spaces, as well as a public space on the ground floor. This large open ground floor space is important to revitalize the Black community on 7th Street. It is a place for cultural events, art exhibits, dancing, hanging out, and more. Near the back is a retail space, and the existing tenants can sell their items and interact with the community in this space. These individual units become a stable home to people who may otherwise have become displaced. This home, because it is a modular unit, can move with them if they choose, creating not only stability but flexibility as well, a place to truly call home.